Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of Regalytics, here in our family's most favorite sanctuary, Big Sky, Montana. If you haven't been, please don't come. We love the fact that there are no lift lines. Welcome to this week's Regulatory Roundup. Today, I will walk you through the most interesting of the 4,985 alerts we had last week. The regulator of the week is the Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. Why? Simply because it exists. One of the things I love about the fact that Regalytics is constantly adding new regulators is that I learn about so many random things. For example, did you know the UK is trying to be a world leader on space sustainability and security? The topic of the week is the official confirmation of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first African American female Supreme Court justice. There were 28 alerts from over 24 agencies celebrating this historical milestone. Before we get on to the fun stuff, there were some heavy-hitting new items this week. First, the SEC put out a proposal for new reporting requirements for swap execution facilities. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, this is like the final pieces of implementation from the too big to fail Dodd-Frank stuff that has to do with CDOs and credit default swaps. So just remember, even though laws can be slow and slowed even further by presidential elections, eventually they settle like a giant glacier that you can't even see moving. Second, a coalition of attorney generals of multiple states are pressuring the CEOs of all of the major banking institutions to just get rid of overdraft fees permanently because they mostly have a disparate impact on those who can least afford it. On to newer topics, we of course remember the SEC and the FDIC putting out new regs about climate change disclosures. As I said, this is just the beginning because guess who put out more commentary last week? You guessed it, the CFPB. Climate risk should be considered in housing decisions, they wrote this week. Speaking of housing, Fannie put out some commentary on equity in home appraisals, another emerging topic. They walked through different types of automated valuations and how they will be working to include more diverse and alternative valuation strategies. On the topic of equity, if you have good ideas about bringing more diversity and inclusion in the financial markets, Treasury is seeking nominations for the Treasury Advisory Committee on Racial Equity. Moving on to crypto, the FDIC just put out a reminder that if you are an FDIC-insured institution and you are dabbling in crypto, you are obligated to report it to the FDIC for them to take a look at what you're doing and give you feedback. Also, the SEC put out a staff accounting bulletin related to crypto assets. Meanwhile, the CME announced 11 new crypto reference rates and real-time indices. Also, Pat Toomey of the Senate said that there is new stablecoin regulation being proposed in front of Congress. And the last item of note is a proposed privacy reg out there at, you guessed it, California. This one impacts insurance companies and the disclosure requirements to customers. And that's it this week for Regalytics because it's time for me to go shred in this fresh powder. Don't forget, Regalytics has the most comprehensive, coherent, and customizable regulatory alerts tool in the world. Come and see how company after company is completely transforming their compliance with this kind of transparency. See you next Wednesday.